For Tony V, the Tigers rule the Vols to take the series. It's locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked On LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. And what a great day it is to be here after LSU rules Tennessee. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making this your first listen. We're free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. Well. What a weekend this turned out to be. Tigers in game 3, rule Tennessee 12-2. Luis Hernandez with the walk-off 2-run double to end things there in the bottom of the 8th inning. Scoring Braswell and McPaul, who was pinch hitting for Ashton Larson. But what a day for LSU as a whole. The Tigers in this one put up 12 runs on 13 hits. And Casan Evans, after a shaky first inning where he gave up a couple of runs in his first start, threw 5 zeros on the board after that. Zach Cowan took care of the rest, and LSU gets home behind Evans, Cowan, and a massive offensive day. Derek Curriell, a leadoff homer. Jake Brown, a 3-run bomb. Michael Braswell homers for the second consecutive day, and LSU wins the series. We got a lot to get to. As always, if you're new to the format, I'll give you my thoughts. We'll break. I'll come back, get some of your questions, so feel free to drop them in. A few things, if I could just start. I want to go into the game, but big picture on the series, I know the feeling was getting a lot of your reaction that LSU had kind of been dominated in this series. But really, games 1 and 2 were virtual stalemates. You had 2 dominant aces in game 1. LSU had a 6-run ninth. You had 2 really dominant number 2s go on Saturday. Tennessee breaks through with the 6-run 8th, and they win game 2. And then this was one where you went to day 3. Tennessee was out of pitching, as you saw. LSU's bats came alive. Casan Evans was awesome. Your guy was better than their guy, and your bat showed up in a big way, and you dominated game 3. So it's just another reminder of the nature of baseball, man. It's so hard not to be reactionary game to game because we have that mentality. But you have to let a weekend play out so it goes like this. So now LSU and Tennessee were both 12-6 in the conference coming into this weekend. We knew you win 2 out of 3 the rest of the way, and you're pacing toward 20-10. Well, you took care of business in a home series against Tennessee. Now you're at 14 league wins. You need 6 more to get to 20. You got 3 weekends to go. And I'm sure a lot of the conversation here on this show is going to be about Casan Evans and what you do with pitching here in day 3 moving forward. And I have some thoughts on that. Before I get into that, let's talk about the game. So the decision to start Evans, it made a lot of sense. He hadn't pitched yet this weekend. You were going to throw him. The question for Jay certainly was, do you start him? Or do you throw an opener? Do you run Connor Ware out there, see if you can get him through the lineup once, then you go to Cowan and Evans, knowing they're all going to pitch? Or do you throw your best guy out there? And they went with their best guy available, who was Evans, and then gave way to Cowan. And it worked. And the fact that you got a run rule win means you only needed 8 innings to get 6 from Evans and 2 from Cowan. And after, the first was shaky. And the velocity was fine from Evans. I don't think there was clearly there was nothing wrong with that. But that first inning was, Curley singled to start the game. He got Keelan to fly out, and then Fisher singled. So you had first and third. Then Ensley had the sac fly on the line out right at Brown, and then he would give up the 2-run double as well. The RBI double as well. So. It wasn't great, but after that, after the first, it never really threatened. He got him in order in the third. He did give up the 2-out double to Ensley in the third. He got him in order in the second. He gave up the 2-out double to Ensley in the third. He got him in order in the fourth. He gave up a meaningless single, a 1-out single to Curley in the fifth. Then he got right in the heart of the order, got Keelan to pop out to third base, and then he got Fisher to ground out. And then he went out there in the 6th and got him in order, striking out the last 2 hitters he faced, struck out Chapman and Bargo. And then he gave way to Cowan in the 7th and the 8th, who was just really good as he has been all year. So awesome performance by Casan Evans, even more so considering rubber match against Tennessee, had to have it, had the shaky first, and came back and really was never threatened. I mean, the runner didn't get second base except for the double to Ensley. In the was that in the 4th? Was the double in the 4th? The double's in the 3rd. 2-out double to Ensley in the 3rd. So that was fantastic. Offensively, after you got down 2-0, the way the weekend had gone for LSU and Tennessee's pitching had really stifled the LSU bats. Derek Curiel, who had his reach base streak snapped on Saturday night, leads off the game with a homer. 2-2 pitch was awesome to see. Get you right on the board. And look, you even mounted a bit more. Jones singled. Dickinson walked. I mean, you got a couple more guys on there in the 1st, but it showed you were going to break through. And it was interesting with Tennessee because A.J. Russell got the start. And remember, he was in their rotation a year ago, but had been battling injury, so it's sort of been in and out. Coons, who was the 3rd pitcher, the freshman, was the guy who had been starting the past couple of Sundays, or game 3s, but Russell, who's kind of been up and down with injury, got the ball, and he only went an inning in 2/3. So you got through against him. After that, it was going to be a bullpen day. Sharman, who came in 2nd, took the loss, giving up the 2 runs there in the 2nd inning, but didn't record an out. But what a day. What a day for LSU as they just abused Tennessee pitching. Again, 12 runs on 13 hits. By the way, all 12 runs were earned. It's not like Tennessee gave you anything in this ball game. So really great day. And love to see it from Curiel setting the tone, not only with the leadoff homer, but Curiel ended up, he was 4 for 4 with 5 RBI. So I was just making sure he didn't get another bat late in the game that I forgot about. Yeah, so he was 4 for 4 with 5 RBI, which was just, and he walked. So awesome day. And then the other thing, obviously, that we've been following all year is the Jake Brown right field DH situation. Brown was only 1 for 5, but the one counted, right? It was the 3-run homer in the 2nd that put you up 5-2. An oppo shot as well, which he gives you that dynamic. I've said it all year. You don't need me to say it again. He's your best option to right. He should be in the lineup every day. He was 1 for 5, and he struck out his next 2 times up. But you'll take a 1 for 5 with 2 strikeout day if the one's a 3-run homer that puts you up 5-2 in the 2nd. So I also found it interesting what Jay elected to do there at DH, where Pearson got the start. Obviously, a left-handed bat in there against the righty. So Pearson got the start, was 0 for 2. Fry went in against a lefty, drew a walk, and then Larson then pinch hit for Fry. When they went back to the right, he get another left-handed bat in the lineup and struck out the first at bat, then roped the breaking ball into right field there in the 8th, and then McPaul pinch ran for him, and that ultimately would be the run that would walk it off. So I like the fact that Brown is your right fielder and you're platooning at DH, which is the way it should be all along. Brown's a great player. He should be in your everyday lineup. I've said it forever. And you platoon a DH to get all those guys at bats, which is what they did. And I think they're figuring it out. Now, I'm pretty sure the question many of you are going to ask is, are we going to see Casan Evans move into that Game 3 Sunday starter role? And I don't think that's the case necessarily. I'll explain what I mean as we continue. Let me knock out my quick break. We'll come back. I'll tell you what I think they're going to do with Evans and Cowan and all that stuff, and we'll get to your questions. So stay with us here. It's Locked on LSU, your team every day. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel has given new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you've joined FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team, diving into player props, from three-pointers to steals to assists. FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. The show is also brought to you by Gametime. There's nothing quite like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena, and with Game Time, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. I love Game Time because of the all-in pricing, no surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay, and you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for all sports, concerts, comedy, theater. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem with the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. All right, we're going to get to your questions here, so please drop them in. I appreciate everybody for being with us. LSU beats Tennessee 12-2, run ruling the Vols there in the 8th inning, and it was a beautiful thing to see Tony Vitello and Tennessee have no answers. Especially, how about Antigua, the shortstop from Tennessee, trying to flex at Jared Jones on Saturday night whenever he got hit by a pitch. Like, Jared Jones has probably had bowel movements bigger than that, dude. I would love to see them try something like that against LSU, which might be seriously like the biggest baseball team I've ever seen. Dude, 6'8", 6'9", giants all over the field. Yeah, let Antigua try something against Jared Jones. Get out of here. Anyway, Colin, this is what Matt means when you tip your hat to Freeman yesterday, even Doyle Friday, pitching matters. It does. Like, Tennessee is a great offensive team. They're a great team. I've said this many times over the weekend. They're the most talented team in the country. Most talented team in the country. But they have lost plenty this year. They've now lost 8. They're 13-8 in league play. They're 13-8 in league play. And they're going to have to fight over the final 3 weekends to get themselves into the national seed conversation because of where they currently stand. I think they'll get there because I think that's a really good team. But they have had struggles. They just lost a road series to LSU. They lost a home series to Kentucky, a home series to A&M. But they're a really good team. But Doyle was awesome on Friday. So you're worried about LSU's bats, or how about you look at the lefty throwing 100? Not many guys have hit him. He's probably going to be the national pitcher of the year. So sometimes you can tip your cat to the other guy, and that's what Tennessee has to do today to Casan Evans, who, after the shaky first, handcuffed them for 5 innings, and then Zach Cowan subsequently. Brant, who I'd love to shout out, who is an LSU guy who lives in Knoxville, married to a Vol. They drove into Baton Rouge this weekend for the series. He said, before I left BR this morning, I told my friends who were worried about today, LSU stud closers on the mound. They're both and versus their bullpen, bottom had to give, and it did. I'm glad you're going to have a great week in Knoxville, Brant. Congrats. Great to get the series win. Be honest, you want to see the teams brawl. I would have loved to have seen it. Run ruling Tennessee, nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with that at all. Thanks to everybody for being here, man. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. Caleb said, what a job by Evans. Struggled in the first, nails after that. Offense did everything and more today. So here is the Evans of it all at this point and what you do there. By the way, someone asked, did we have 2 or 3 triples? It was 2. Fire 3449. It was 2 triples today. So, and how about this as well? Braswell seasoned so many doubters. The proof is there. I'm going to talk about Evans here in a second, but that all does go back to exactly what we're talking about, which is baseball is a game in aggregate where you look at averages because there's so many games and so many at-bats, averages matter. So when I look at Michael Braswell from a year ago hitting 311 in SEC play, I go, okay, I know that guy can hit SEC pitching. So he struggled to start the season in non-conference play. They were platooning. Michael Braswell, I don't worry about Michael Braswell at all. Like he's a fourth-year player, 4 seasons in the SECs at 400 at bats. Like I know he can do it, and he's showing it. That's why you just have to. You really same with Jared Jones, Stephen Milam. Stephen Milam's hitting below 200 right now in conference play. Does anybody doubt Stephen Milam's awesome and when you need him, you want him at the plate? Of course. So like you're gonna live through some of that. Some of the Bryce, Carlos are talking about the bats coming alive. Yes, you were facing a bullpen day as opposed to a guy like Liam Doyle who's going to be a top 15 pick in the draft. A lot of offenses are going to struggle. It's a thing that I try to tell you on Friday. It's hard to understand, but you come back today and you realize, okay, it's still in there. It's just a lot of teams are going to struggle to hit against those guys. Anyway, I want to talk about Evans and what I think happens here. So, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people saying, okay, so is Evans now your Sunday guy? I don't necessarily think that's the case. You can roll your eyes, but just please hear me out, okay? Right now, we would all agree the biggest Achilles heel that LSU has is the bullpen. And right now, there's two guys you can count on, Cowan and Evans. Okay, that's it. Those are the two guys you can count on. Like, you hand them the ball and you are fearless. You like, okay, game over. It's not to say that they're going to be flawless. They may blow a save. Mariano Rivera, Trevor Hoffman, those guys blew saves. It may happen, but you give them the ball with the utmost confidence. You can't say that about literally anybody else in the bullpen. We've seen guys pitch well, no doubt. We've seen Jaden Newt have moments. We have seen Grant Fontenot was good on Saturday night when nobody else after the eighth inning was. We've seen guys pitch well out of the bullpen. Maverick Rizzi's had moments. Jacob Myers has had good moments. They've all had really bad moments as well. There's two guys you count on. So let me pose a hypothetical to you. If you go into weekend saying, okay, Casan Evans is my Friday guy, or I'm sorry, Casan Evans is my Sunday guy. Okay. Let's say Cade Anderson does what he just did. You're going into A&M this weekend, okay? Play the hypothetical. Let's say Anderson gives you 7 1/3. So you say, okay, we're saying Evans is our starter for game 3. Cowan. Perfect. Great. Cowan goes out there, gets you the final 5 outs, and you win game 1. Cool. Now, let's say Ianson in game 2 gives you 6 innings, and you're up 3-2. You're 9 outs away from winning the series. Who are you giving the ball to? You're giving the ball to Casan Evans. You're not going, it's my Sunday guy. No, you have a chance to win the series. You're giving the ball to Casan Evans and saying, go get me 9 outs and let's win this series, and we'll figure out game 3 when we get to game 3. So but what happened this weekend could certainly manifest in future weekends where you don't have an opportunity in each of the first couple of games to pitch Evans. And so your best guy is available. You give him the ball on Sunday. That makes sense. By the way, I want to stop for a second because I want to note a milestone. We're at 1,005 live concurrent viewers. I just want to say thank you. I'm going to continue my point, but I just want to say thank you. That's the first time, to my knowledge, we've ever hit over 1,000 live concurrent viewers. So to everybody who has watched, listened, supported the show, the channel, I am sincerely grateful. It's been awesome. And I'm very, 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 very humbled and thrilled. So thank you so much for caring enough about LSU baseball and for hanging out with me on all these post games. Some are more fun than others, but we're at 1,010 people watching live right now. It's the first time we've crossed 1,000, which is awesome. So, and this guy, we're here because we're stoked, Matt. I'm right there with you, brother. I'm right there with you. I'm stoked as well, man. So thank you so much. And yes, to LSU Colby, Calicut, brother. I appreciate it. Let's see. Oh, God, I'm white. Okay. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you. Yeah, y'all go watch Musso too. Yes, please smash the like button if you would and subscribe to the channel. So as I look ahead, I still think establishing a number 3 starter is of the utmost importance, because there could very well be weekends where it plays out like this, where Casan Evans hasn't pitched the first 2 days, and so you start him in game 3. Awesome. And he was phenomenal. 6 innings pitched, the 2 runs in the first inning, only allowed 2 base runners in the next 4 innings. You're allowed the double to Inslee, and then he allowed a single in the 5th. So he allowed 2 base runners the next 5 innings. It's incredible. He was awesome. And he is great. And he, by the way, Casan Evans is going to be battling probably with William Schmidt, whoever else you had in the transfer portal next year, to be your Friday night guy next year. And this certainly shows you he's ready to do it. But I think you have to think, if you're Jay Johnson, how you put yourself in scenarios to win games and win weekends. And so if you need Evans on Friday night to finish a game, you're going to put him in there to finish the game. You're not just going to hold him until Sunday because he's your number 3, which is why it's important to establish a number 3 that you feel like can be that guy that you're going to give the ball to. Connor Ware feels like the guy that's going to be the best and most likely in line for that opportunity, which means I think this week, in the midweek, you probably run Connor Ware out there. Actually, give me 1 second, y'all. I need to check the schedule to make sure they play a midweek this week, because I can't remember. I know that as they get near the end. Okay, they do. They play Southeastern. So they play Southeastern before they go to A&M, and that game's at the Box. So that's probably a game where you get a lot of guys opportunities to pitch, and you probably start Connor Ware with the idea, maybe keep him short, but maybe with the idea of him starting game 3 if you need him there. Thanks for bringing this up, Gary. Gary said, I loved your analogy of William Schmidt versus Cade Anderson from last year, and I totally agree. It's for those that missed it. So Cade Anderson last year was awesome in the pre-conference, like in the non-conference, but his ERA was 27 in the SEC. Let me say that again, okay? Cade Anderson, the guy who just went 7 1/3 and struck out 11 Tennessee hitters, the best offense in the country on Friday. Cade Anderson had an ERA of 27 in conference play a year ago. 1 year remaining, or 1 year removed, and he's a dominant ace in the best league in America and going to be a top 15 pitcher taken in the draft, top 15 player taken in the draft in July. William Schmidt can be that as well. It takes mound time. Connor Ware has that ability. It takes mound time. Chase Shores has the ability. It takes mound time. Clearly, it has not clicked for Chase Shores at all. So it's why you got to keep getting these guys mound time for it to click for somebody, like it did for Ty Floyd in 2023 and like it did for Thatcher Hurd in Omaha in that season. 2 guys that really struggled throughout the course of the season, but by the end of the year, they were awesome. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see what they choose to do on Sunday next week, but I think it's contingent on what happens the first 2 days. Like, I don't like on Thursday, when they send out the game notes for LSU and Texas A&M, I don't think we're going to see Anderson, Ianson, Evans. Like, I don't think Jay's putting that on paper to say this is our rotation we're going with. I think we'll see Anderson, Ianson, and they'll make the determination based on game 3, based on what happens in the first 2 games of the series, which could certainly allow for Evans to pitch out of the bullpen if you need it to win the weekend. Only thing I dislike is Jay making Jake Brown attempt to bunt after a home run. Stop killing guys' momentum. Y'all know how I feel about bunting. Sometimes I wonder, like Brown, I believe it was in his last at bat, where he tried to lay down a bunt, and I think he was bunting for a hit. And so I wonder, and I don't know this answer, this would be, if I was in the postgame presser, this would be a great thing to ask Jay. Like, in that situation, are the players doing that on their own? Like, if you notice the third baseman's back, are you just saying, I'm going to lay one down because I got a bunch of space and I can leg it out and get on base? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but you know how I feel about bunting. But again, that may be guys in that situation, trying to take advantage of that. Okay. See if we can get a couple of more. Okay. Apologies. I'm just trying to read through some of these comments here to see if there's anything else we want to get to. It's going to be a massive weekend next week for LSU, going to College Station to take on Texas A&M. You go to Bluebell Park. It's a place where they're seemingly starting to figure it out. And, well, I mean, they are figuring it out. And And then you've got Arkansas coming in. Arkansas lost a series. And then you go to South Carolina, who's right there just ahead of Missouri at the bottom of the conference. So if you can find a way to go on the road this week to Texas A&M and take 2 out of 3 against the Aggies, boy, that would put you in a massive situation coming home against an Arkansas team that's fighting it a little bit. It just goes to show you also how teams ebb and flow throughout the course of a season because, man, Arkansas under Dave Van Horn, they have always pitched it very well. They had struggled, especially early this season, offensively. And the early part of conference play, their offense had hit their stride, and that's when they catapulted up to number 1 in the country. And that was kind of the moment where we looked around and said, okay, well, is Arkansas maybe really the best team in college baseball? Well, you look at the A&M series. Arkansas lost 2 out of 3. They lost 2 out of 3 against Florida this weekend on the road. And, I think that's a team now that has to go play Texas this week before they come to LSU. I think Arkansas undeniably has the most brutal stretch remaining where they go Texas at LSU and then Tennessee at home. But that's their final 9 games. Like Arkansas has a really brutal stretch to finish. So go find a way to get to this weekend, next weekend at College Station. And I think you've got just a clear lane to a national seed. Okay, y'all. This is a good question. Sean said, will 19-11 get you a top 8? It certainly, Brazzle, the home run chip, it certainly can. 20 is the benchmark that we've always looked at because there's only been one time in this format that an SEC team got to 20 and wasn't a national seed. And that was South Carolina in 2016. So 19 could certainly get you there. 20, though, is the benchmark that you always look at and say, now, let's say you get to 19, you go to Hoover, you're a top 4 in Hoover, you've got the double bye, you win Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then you play into Sunday in the championship game, whether you win or lose. Like that very well could be enough to get you over the hump. LSU right now has an RPI of 9, despite the fact that its non-conference strength of schedule of 241 is embarrassing. But it just goes to show you why we always talk about midweek games and the pre-conference. It doesn't matter because your SEC strength of schedule is just going to buoy you so much. So LSU's RPI is 9 right now. So, 14-7 in the SEC, your resume is pretty sterling. You've got 9 quad 1 wins. You're 7-0 against quad 2. You're 3-1 against quad 3, and then 17-1 against quad 4. You get the 1 bad loss against Northwestern State, but there's plenty of meat on the bone there. 19 could be good enough to do it, but it really depends on what the rest of the league and the rest of the country looks like. Okay, y'all. Caleb said, love the move, putting Jake Brown behind Bear today. Well, it certainly paid off in the first. There's no doubt about that. Just flipping Dickinson and Brown, but really what they were doing, Jay was alternating lefty-righty. So you had Curiel, Jones, Brown, Dickinson, Pearson. So Milam, who's obviously a switch hitter. So he was going lefty-righty in the lineup is what he did. And it worked, obviously, in the second. Brown hits the 3-run homer. But, sorry, it worked in the second. Brown hits the 3-run homer, but he also struck out twice today. So I don't know that necessarily. I'm good with, long way of saying it. Brown or Dickinson behind Jones, I'm fine. I want Jones in the 2-hole because 2-hole, you're generally going to see more fastballs. I want Jared Jones seeing more fastballs. And then if you have run producers behind him, great. Dickinson's been great there all year. You want to put Brown there, awesome. So I'm good with however they want to do that. I just really want Curiel leading off and Jones in the 2-hole. That's what I think would be ideal. Okay. This is a good question. Well, John, what's up, John? Actually, I was trying to grab another one. Appreciate you, man. Golf South said the non-conference schedule is terrible. Wouldn't losing those games hurt us more? No, because you're buoyed so much by your conference schedule. It just doesn't matter. Like in basketball, for example, if you take a bad loss, the committee will say you have to offset a bad loss with a good win. So if you have a quad 4 loss in basketball, the committee would say, okay, well, do you have like a high quad 1 road win that would offset each other in those situations? It would basically cancel out the bad loss. Well, in the SEC, every win except Missouri is a great win. It cancels out. It just doesn't matter is the point. Like that's why LSU's RPI is 9, because the SEC strength of schedule is so high. It just doesn't matter at all what you do in the non-conference. Hollywood, is Dickinson one and done? Yes, he's a one and done. Look, you're going to have a lot of guys on this team that are gone. Remember, Cade Anderson is a draft eligible sophomore, so he's gone after this year. You basically have this 1 year with him at the front of your rotation. Ionson's going to be gone after this year. Cowan's going to be gone. A lot of your relievers, are going to be gone. Jacob Myers will be gone. Jones will be gone. Braswell obviously will be out of eligibility. Stanfield will be out of eligibility. So you're going to have a big turnover next year. But I don't think any of us are worried about that at this point. Worried about how you figure out a way to establish a couple of more bullpen arms you feel like you can count on. And maybe someone like Connor Ware can emerge as your number 3 starter, even if it's just someone that can get you through the lineup once on a Sunday or on a game 3. But you got plenty. I agree with this too. Brandon Reese said this was a confidence booster type series win. I agree. To find a way, I mean, you were on the brink on Friday. You let it get away from you on Saturday, just like Tennessee let it get away from them. And then you blasted them on Sunday, which I think speaks to your depth. Your depth is better than theirs, which is why you were able to do what you did on Sunday. So awesome to see, man. Awesome. Sonny said Jones is returning to play second base. Yeah. I don't think Jared Jones is going to return to play second base, dog. Let's get out of here. It's Locked on LSU. Thanks so much for being with us, y'all. Tigers win 12-2. They run rule the Vols. Vibes are excellent after that. Tigers 14-7 in league play now with 3 weekends to go, and very clearly eyeing a national seed after that series win. Hey, do me a favor. If you're watching with us live, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. If you're listening or watching on demand, remember we are live after every LSU game on the Locked on LSU YouTube channel. So please join us there if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. Tigers win, y'all. Have a great rest of your Sunday. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day.